How's it going, Hikikomori friends and family tier on my Patreon? And eventually everyone else about a week later. Welcome to Patreon exclusive video number 2. Welcome to the Secret Society. I know I was supposed to put out an E3 video. The thing is, I only got a little bit of footage of E3. Nothing particular, out of the ordinary, spectacular. That's the word I was looking for. Jarrett wasn't able to make it, so we weren't able to get up to our normal shenanigans. But I did take a few photos, so I'll include those in the video somewhere. So I figured, hey, here's a topic that I want to cover because it's going to be relevant for an upcoming video. So I was like, let's go through and talk about my Wii regular collection. I can't really get this in frame in a nice way because my tripod is bigger than the level where my Wii games are. So I'm going to pull them out. The reason I want to talk to you, let me get in frame. The reason I want to talk to you about my Wii collection is because it's something I've been collecting. It's super cheap to collect for, and it has one of the most diverse library of games, like all sorts of things and experimental in nature type games. And I just hear the fucking garbage man outside. Hard cut. And we're back. Okay. I wanted to talk about the Wii. It's one of my favorite systems out there. Not a huge fan of all the waggle controls, but I'm a huge fan of experimental games, and the Wii had experimental games tenfold. It's up there with the PlayStation 2's library as having some of the most unique games I've ever played. So I was like, let's talk about it. I mean, if you're out there collecting, I'm about to ruin the fucking market for all you Wii collectors out there. There's a lot of games to collect for the system, and I'm not going to go out there and get all the shovelware titles. I mean, there's a couple of them that are so ironically bad it's good that I might, but for the most part, I've kind of reached that place in my Wii collecting that I'm going to stop. I mean, there's only like 3 more games that I'm after, so with that said, let's get into this. First, these are not in alphabetical order. I tried, but they are no longer in alphabetical order. And I guess I'll just talk about some of the ones I know a lot about. So this is Furu Park. This is a collection of different Taito games on the Wii. Taito's the creators of Bubble Bobble, but they made this like mini game kind of WarioWare collection of games for the system. I actually haven't played this. I did pick this up for $2. So I was like, ah, this looks unique enough. It's got a pink disc, so I do appreciate that. Ark Rise of Fantasia. It's like a Star Ocean Tales of game for the Wii. And I tried to collect all the RPGs for the Wii when I could. This one I've never played. I'm going to play it one of these days, but it came with this nice little art card. I'm a big fan of those. That's kind of cool. I mean, I guess I'm nostalgic because not many games nowadays come with instruction booklets. Like, they're phasing those out. On the Nintendo Switch, I own 2 games. Only one of them has an instruction booklet, and that's Cave Story. Thank you, Nicholas. Boyness Blob, this has been remade for PS4 and Xbox One and everything, so you can get this on modern gen systems. It's really good. It's a lot better than David Crane's original vision on the NES. I still like the soundtrack to that one, but this one through and through anyone can get into. This is a very well done platformer. Animal Crossing City Folk. This game's been ported a bajillion times from its GameCube iteration. I think it's still good. I never used Wii Speak on it. That was the big component, was online play. I played more of Wild World, which was the DS one. That's the one I played the most, and I played a little bit of New Leaf. They're all good. Sorry, the garbage men were back, so here we are. The Mushroom Men, the Spore Wars. I played the DS version of this, not the same game. This one's a platformer. I like games where everything is huge in scale, like you're a small protagonist, kind of like Pikmin, and the world's huge in scale, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style of thing. I always like that. They've done this so many times in video games, but it impresses me all the time. This was 99 cents. I haven't gone through and played this version of it, but for 99 cents, it was one of the games I wanted to pick up. I heard it's pretty good, but it's like not the best game in the world, but good for a weekend, I'm sure. Another one of those I got for $1 because it was missing the case. Pokemon Poke Park 2 Wonders Beyond. I watched my brother play the first one of these. Looks like you just play as one of the Pokemon and you run around and tackle things. I don't know. Spin-off. Not canonical, I'm sure. But all these Pokemon games, anything with Pokemon on it, I'm sure I can resell it for a lot of bucks if I wanted to. So I'll check it out one of these days. Here's an underrated classic. It's not underrated at all because millions of people played it. But Wii Fit. I thought the balance board, even though I use it for not balance board or exercise reasons, I like these Wii Fit games. They have some decent mini games, and it's a neat little scale. Some good yoga in there. I do practice yoga. I yoga about 4 or 5 times a week, get my stretches in. And if you want something that's got good stretching, this actually will put you to the test. It measures like your center of gravity, and it measures your BMI, but the BMI is a bullshit metric. Okay, so keep that in mind. But some of the running games and the exercise games are actually quite fun. Digging into the good stuff. Here's one. Favorite game on the Wii. You're never going to guess this. Thor High Heels. This is a big shout out to you because I will be doing a video on this and I'm going to try and incorporate your Hotel Dusk review in maybe. Another Code R. Journey into Lost Memories. I like this more than the original Trace Memory. This is one of the most creative games on the Wii. It uses the Wiimotes and Nunchuck and everything in the most creative ways. But it was only released in PAL territories. And it says, read and solve like a mystery novel. Trying to get that casual market in there. Poor Sing. They had the most creative games and the most creative developers for the DS and the Wii, and they just never got that mainstream appeal. The graphics on this game are all cel-shaded. They look great. All the characters emote very well. The music's fantastic. I just like Ashley as a character. Out of all the IPs, I think this was one of the most underrated during that DS Wii era. Okay, digging into some the rare stuff. Calling used to be one of the rarest and strangest games on the Wiimote. It incorporates the Wiimote very well, kind of like the cell phones on No More Heroes where you hold it up to your ear. This one was super rare for a bit. Used to go for like $120, $180 brand new. But GameStop got the rights. This is some shady bullshit. GameStop recognized how rare some of the Wii games were, so they bought up all the rights to these like obscure games like Xenoblade Chronicles, and The Calling was one of them, and they reprinted them en masse, and they were selling them for like $54. I didn't pay that much. But I did recognize that they were doing that. This game is cheesy as fuck. I'd love to play through it on stream. I wish they would have reprinted Ju-On the Grudge, Haunted House Simulator. But this one's pretty alright. A little strange, a little Fatal Frame-ish. No combat whatsoever in this one, but it's a neat game. I like the movie better. Final Fantasy Fables, Chocobo's Dungeon. I like roguelike games, like Azure Dreams is a top one of mine. I like that Chocobo got his own games. Like he's got Mystery Dungeon on 2 on the PlayStation, Chocobo Racing. Here he is coming back with Chocobo's Dungeon. I've played a bunch of this one. This one has like a bunch of different penalties and mini games. There's like a card game built into it. Yeah, there was another one called Echoes. Final Fantasy Echoes of Mysteria or something like that. I never tried that one. Let me know if that's any good. Getting right into it. This is the only steelbook that I have. Curse Mountain, made by Deep Silver, the guys who made Dead Island. This one's about Tibetan monks and demonology, like up in the mountains. You have this magical axe that shoots out things. It's like somewhat of a third-person shooter and climbing QTE thing. I played like maybe 15 hours into it. I never beat it because I got stuck on this boss and I got frustrated. But I think it's a good game. Worth picking up. Wii exclusive. Survival horror. Can't go wrong. I'm going to alphabetize this shit after we're done. Dead Rising. Shop till you drop. Basically Resident Evil 4 with Dead Rising characters. And just it's Dead Rising with limited draw distance. Only 10 or so zombies on the screen at one time. But it's like Resident Evil 4 uses the same engine. More arcadey and mission-based. Not a bad game. Wii exclusive. There's also the iOS port. I think they ported this to phones. There is a version to Dead Rising on the phones. Capcom might have removed it by now. Who knows? Underrated, cult classic, Dewey's Adventure. Where are you? Where are your elements? Do you know all about condensation, evaporation, storm clouds, ice? This game is like one of those weird isometric motion tilt control like Corn Rimpa. I like this game. It's very cute. It's like a Kirby's Tilt and Tumble, except dealing with the elements. I like it. A little bit of Day Blob in there. Neat game. Neat ideas. Had a lot of fun with it. Disaster Day of Crisis. This is not related to Disaster Report or what is that called? Zetai Zetsumi Toshi? Not related to that. I was corrected in my comment section of my review. I love how people that have one issue with your review after you put all that time in it, they just want to correct you, come in like, no, you were wrong about that thing. It has disaster in the name, but is not related. How dare you insinuate such a connection? I'm sorry. I will fix that in my Raw Danger review, which will happen one day. It is a disaster-based game, surviving in disaster-like scenarios, saving lives using CPR, third-person shooter, PAL freaking exclusive and Japan exclusive because Reggie actually came out and said this game was shitty. It's not. It's actually quite fun. I enjoy disaster scenarios, surviving in them. Raw Danger is my shit, my jam. Domino Rally, related to No One Can Stop Mr. Domino, which was a really good PlayStation 1 game. It's like a board game platformer where you're running around, knocking over dominoes and trying to solve this puzzle. I actually haven't played this one, but I did play a lot of Mr. Domino. Getting deep, dank into it. Dragon Quest Swords. Whoa. Terrible use of the franchise. You just swipe a bunch. There's really no strategy to this game. You just swipe a bunch, hit a bunch of the Dragon Quest slimes and golems and stuff. I like Dragon Quest, but I'm a little miffed we didn't get Dragon Quest X. We didn't get that one. Ella Bits, also known as Ella D's in Japan. I thought this had like a Pikmin aesthetic. It's not. It's kind of like Luigi's Mansion-esque. You got this little tool that sucks up all these little Ella bits that are around in your house, and you move around furniture, and you vacuum them up, and you avoid these missiles and stuff they shoot at you. It's an amazing game. It's on DS as well. Underrated. Back when Konami made good games. I enjoy it. The music's relaxing too. Good soundtrack on that one. Endless Ocean. I made fun of my brother so much for playing this game. All you do is you swim underwater in Sega Dreamcast oceans, and you pet fish, and you learn about fish. It's good if you like the aquatic stuff. I heard the sequel's a lot better. The music, the one song in here is really, really cheesy. There's like this opera singer who's singing about Endless Ocean. It's a fish petting game. That's what it's always been. Epic Mickey gave my girlfriend motion sickness. I like the idea of just paint thinner, like you could choose to thin or paint the world, but beyond that, it's just kind of a basic platformer. Not too bad. I wasn't digging the story enough to get interested in it. I know Oswald's in there. He's like the big... Oh, they brought him back, the original Mickey, the rabbit. Thought it looked kind of cool. Neat idea, but then like they realized that they wanted more money, so they brought 2. Epic Mickey 2 is on Vita, so that tells you how much they wanted to make this thing franchise. But I think it bankrupted... Not Disney, but the developers Junction Point that made this. Sad. Sad, Warren Spector, sad. I play this on stream. I don't want to play this. Escape from Bug Island. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I do want to play this. I actually like this game. Warts and all, it's a really bizarre game. Giant bugs, giant gorillas with their brains exposed, foggy islands, hitting things with sticks, and praying mantis claws. Neat freaking game. Made by Spike Chunsoft. Very underrated, I think. It gets a bad rap, but it's alright. Does a lot of experimental things with the Wiimote. Excitebots, trick racing. You'll see this on every Hidden Gym video, I'm sure. You play as bug cars. You do tricks. It's better than the original one, Excite Truck. All motion-based. And just ridiculous, flying around and doing tricks and throwing darts. Neat game. Custom soundtracks on it, if you want to put that down. Final Fantasy Crystal Bears. It's like Star Fox. You fly around and you shoot things, like Kid Icarus. I think it's more like Kid Icarus, the new one. Not a bad game. All Final Fantasy soundtrack, Final Fantasy characters, and monsters, shooting things. Just an alright game. You can beat it in an afternoon. Not a big deal. Fling Smash. Throwing stuff around. Blowing shit up. Knowing your angles. Throwing your guy around. I got it for Wii Motion Plus like everyone else did. Oh, this is stuck together. Listen to this. I don't even know why. I think it's because of that sticker residue on there. Geometry Wars Galaxy. It has a holographic hollow foil cover on there. I like the original Geometry Wars. This changes it up. There's more maps and different things to do on there. If you like Geometry Wars, you'll like this. Really cheap, $5 at least. This one I've never opened. One of my stores, grocery stores, had this for sale. I didn't pay $14 for it. It was like $5 or less. I guess they got on, like, you know how fidget spinners are a fad? Well, the Wii was a fad, and almost every nearby, like, retail store had Wii games, and so they started selling that. I was like, Harvest Moon. I don't know if this is good or not, but I don't really like the art style. Everything looks washed out. It's not cel-shaded. But, I don't know. Maybe it's redundant to play these nowadays that Stardew Valley's out, but who knows? Who knows? I never played Rune Factory either, so I can't tell you anything about them. I only played the Game Boy Color Harvest Moon. Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. This is Phoenix Wright with Harvey Birdman, and it's made by Capcom, so I'm sure the original developers behind Phoenix Wright. Guile and other Capcom characters make cameos in it. It's really short, kind of stupid. I like the cartoon series, but this game just isn't all that great. Maybe it's because it's super short and not very in-depth. It was also made for PSP. We're running out of battery. I've got to rapid fire these. Heavenly Guardian. It's like Pocky and Rocky. Great game, also on PS2. Klonoa, remake of the original classic. Looks better. And lots of gameplay additions to it. Very fast paced. Doesn't use any gimmicky Wii controls. The Core Gang, made by French developers, has a Tim Burton-esque style. Kind of like Psychonauts. You have this robot guy and you collect cores, and it's decent. Decent game. Skyward Sword, only Zelda game I never sat down and beat all the way through. Just got bored with it. Hated waggling the sword, and I hated the Skyloft. Not a fan of it. But it's a good game if you're looking for a decent Zelda game, but it's hard to go back from after Breath of the Wild. Twilight Princess, I will never go back to this one. When I first met my girlfriend, she had beaten this one, so she kind of caught me up on all this, and I played through it on my own. I didn't put as many hours. I didn't do all the side stuff. Mad World, underrated classic. One of Sega's best IPs on the Wii. They also tried to make it happen again with Anarchy Reigns. Didn't happen. But they need to bring it back. I love this art style, but I guess some people, the black and white, they weren't having it. Lost in Blue, Shipwreck. Play this and I don't want to play this. This is actually a pretty bad game. Not as good as the DS ones. Didn't translate that well. Last Story. Love the combat in this one. It's got a bit of like your MMO, Final Fantasy 12. A lot of environmental things going on, like where you have to destroy bridges and things. Made by the Gooch. This is the limited version. It's got all the stuff in it. Made by Mistwalker Studios. Lost Odyssey. The Gooch. Oops, I just dropped it. Parappa the Rapper devs worked on Major Minor's Majestic March rhythm game. Kind of stupid, but it's good. Metroid Other M. I'm not going to share my opinions because I know they're controversial on it. But if you're looking for something that's really cheap and a neat idea, and I think just because people blew the story out of proportion and cared too much about Samus's story and not really the game, I think the game itself is pretty fun. The story, I don't really give a shit. Never gave a shit about Samus's story in the first place. Much like a Mario game. I'm not in it for the story, folks. There are some games I am, but not that. Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. Never played this one except for like a demo back in the day. Just picked it up because it was a couple of dollars when I was in Chicago. So I got it. Might play it one day. Here are my second two favorite games. I'm going to do them back to back. No More Heroes. I will cover these in a future video so you can hear my opinions then. Octomania. What do you know about Octomania? What do you know about that? It's not anything like spectacular. It reminds me of this other game. It's kind of like Puyo Puyo. You just match the octopi and you form chains. Nothing special. It had an online mode. Never played it back then. We're going to rapid fire these. Oni-Chambara. I've played these before. Out of the Simple Series games, I think they're overrated. She even has a movie based on her. This one's a lot of waggling. A lot of same old zombie grinding. Not a huge fan of this series. Apuna is going to be in that next Dynasty Warriors All-Stars game. I don't know how he made the transition. I bought it because it reminded me of Pikmin, but it's actually a turn-based RPG. Open world, crazy for Koei Tecmo. Never heard of it until like I found it in a bargain bin, and I was like, why didn't this get more attention? Running out of battery. Trying to rapid fire here. Resident Evil 4, we all know it. We've all played it. Yada, yada, yada. I've bought this game at least 7 times now. Pandora's Tower. Gruesome. Absolutely brutal. Probably the revival of Castlevania and Bionic Commando all rolled into one. It's a great game. I love it. I've played it over and over again, and I grind every time I play. I just sit down and I just get lost in it, getting all these materials, feeding demon meat to my waifu. I love Pandora's Tower, one of the Operation Rainfall. Thank you, guys. The 3 games that came over here. Two more. Rhythm Heaven Fever, best rhythm game ever made. Very addicting. You just need one button to play most times. Play it. You've seen all the memes. Moving on. Samba de Amigo. One of my favorite Dreamcast games. I've got the maracas right here. You just saw them earlier. Really fun. A lot of Smash Mouth music in there. Underground shit. You know, like Captain Beefheart. Well, they got Smash Mouth. How? It's all Kids Bop versions. They couldn't license Smash Mouth. All Kids Bop in that joint. Shared Memories, I did a review on it. Go watch that video. Love this game. Underrated. Sin and Punishment Star Successor. I like the first one. This one's more the same. Star Fox on rail. Good times. I really hate Sonic the Hedgehog. I've hated him ever since he went to 3D. Really hated him ever since I met all the fan base. But I did get these games for like $1 a piece. I do like Sonic Colors. It's a great fucking game. It's bright, vivid, kind of got some Galaxy-esque things going on there. But Sonic and the Black Knight, terrible all the way through. Complete shit show. Thank you, Sega. I will enjoy it one day on I Don't Want to Play This. Soul Calibur Legends, never played it. I'm a huge fan of Soul Calibur 2 and 3. I played a bunch of those, and I was like, we'll give it a shot. It's like an RPG Soul Calibur experience. Don't know how that's going to go. Mario Galaxy 2, one of my favorites in the series, for sure. I love the first one as well. This one's just more the same, only more crazier ideas. Yoshi's in the mix there, too, so that adds some interesting mechanics. Brawl, I love it. Don't know why people hate it, but I love it. I know it's not as fast as Melee, but it blew my mind that Solid Snake was in there. It's going to be the last Smash Brothers he's ever going to be in, so rest in peace there. A lot of content in this game. And the last Smash Brothers with a story mode. Think about that. Super Paper Mario. I wish this would have released for the GameCube. I wish they wouldn't have incorporated the Wiimote pixel system. Hated pointing the Wiimote at the screen, but other than that, it's a decent platformer. Just before the series went to absolute shit with Sticker Star. I can't comment on the more recent one, Color Splash, but I like this one. I think this is pretty good. It's brainless. Anyone can beat this game. Anyone. A game for children. The Trauma Center Trilogy. I want to thank Kirk Almighty. He got me a Trauma Team I've been looking forever. I love these games. I think this one was better on DS. They fixed a lot of the issues I had in this one. And this one's co-op. I had a lot of fun playing through this with my girlfriend. Good games. Okay, last three before my battery dies. This one's Wario Land Shake It. Great side-scroller, all cel-shaded. Graphics hold up today. The music's good. Way better than Master of Disguise. Has that old-school Wario Land feel, minus all the costumes and stuff. Wish they would have incorporated more hats. Always a fan of hats. Xenoblade Chronicles, I dropped this one. I got like halfway through it on this one. Now I'm playing through it on the 3DS. Better as a portable game. Can't wait for the Switch version because this is like a game you can play in burst. So many side quests. Part of the Operation Rainfall trilogy. Got reprinted by GameStop, those bastards, because this used to be worth so much. But what can you do? Zack and Wiki, The Hunt for Barbarossa's Treasure. Zack and Wiki, Quest for Barbarossa's Treasure. What can I say? Point and click style game. Interesting puzzles. It was supposed to be a big franchise for Capcom. It got blown the fuck out of the water because nobody bought it. And then after like a year later, everyone's like, oh, this is a great game. What a hidden gem. And it's just never coming back, sadly. But it's good. A lot of fun in there. This monkey always reminded me of Data from Mega Man Legends. I wonder if there was some sort of connection, a latent connection there. I don't know. I do have one more Wii game before I wrap this video up. Yes, I have the Super Mario 25th Anniversary Collection with the art book and the soundtrack. I've never opened this. This is what they call GameStop new, where they put that sticker on right there that I won't rip off. But they also reprinted this. There's like another version of it that just has the box itself, like not the collectors, but just the box. And it's just basically Super Mario All-Stars from the Super Nintendo. I own that one. I even have the one that has Super Mario World in there, but yeah, I'll never open this. I'll probably sell this one because I'm not too partial to it. It's just Super Mario All-Stars on a disc with a book. But yeah, I'll sell this one day. I wouldn't recommend it unless you, if you've never played like all the original Mario trilogy and Lost Levels and stuff, then it's not worth the price. Definitely not. Only for those scalpers out there, I'm sure. One more cool thing I got before my battery dies here. It's on its last legs. I was in Portland. I got this Monster Hunter stand. This is for Monster Hunter Tri. I don't know if I showed that off. I do own that game as well. Yes, it's this dusty ass stand, but you put your Wii in here, and then what it does is it gives you a USB port in the front, so you can play with your classic controller, which you can. You can plug up some USB controllers, and also it has like a stand for your Wiimotes and stuff. It's nothing too crazy. I got it for a few bucks. I thought it was cool. Big Monster Hunter fan, so that's why I have that. Well, I hope this patron exclusive video was worth your time. I didn't want to, start doing all these Bing collection videos, but I thought, no one really talks about the Wii. It's a little underrated, and it's going to start going up in price here. It's just about that time, like where kids who grew up with it are going to become adults and start collecting for it. So now if you want to get any Wii games, now's the time to do it, but really, you can just soft mod it. I'd recommend doing that. It's super easy to do, homebrew channel and such. It's the only way you're going to play a lot of the Japanese exclusive games, sadly, and if you want to play import games because they region locked it. And finally, they cut that out with the Nintendo Switch. So, anyway, guys, before I start going into a region locking tangent, I'll see you all next time. Thank you for being a patron.